In this video, we're going to learn how to use the inVision app to put together a working prototype to test a basic user flow that we've decided that we want to use for a specific product. So let's imagine that I have put together three separate design documents uh, in Photoshop or Sketch or my design software of choice. The goal here being that I want to test a specific user flow for somebody who wants to sign up for online banking with Wells Fargo advisors. And I want to make sure that the design that I've put in place to make that as easy as possible for my users actually works and has the desired outcome. So in order to do that, I'm going to use inVision to put together a basic prototype to test that user flow, and then I'm going to use that prototype to conduct a user research test similar to what we've talked about in previous lessons. So I'm logged in to inVision. You should all have an account by now. Now I've navigated to the My Projects screen, and I'm going to click the plus button here to create a new interactive project. So we'll click on that. And then we've got a couple different types of things that we can choose from here. There's a board for general ideating and putting together like a mood board or a design story for a given project. There's freehand, which is a place where you can do low fidelity wireframing or drawing out basic ideas that you can share with the team. Or there's prototype, where you can mock up an interactive experience so you can get feedback and do some basic user testing. So that's what we're going to do here. So we're going to click on Create Prototype. Then we're going to name this project. So I'm going to name this Online Account Sign Up, because that's what we want to test. Now you can pick up a couple of different form factors here. You see you've got desktop, iPhone, Android phone, iPad, Android tablet, Apple Watch, or Android Watch. We're going to do desktop, but the cool thing about inVision is that if you had designed a mobile app or a responsive website and you wanted to test the mobile flow, you could do that too, and people could actually test on their specific devices. So now that I've given it a name, I've selected my form factor, I'm going to click Create. And then we come in here to actually start setting it up. Now, the cool thing about inVision is that you can sync projects that you have created in Photoshop or Sketch, and that will make it so whenever you make changes to your designs in either of those design programs, it'll automatically update your prototype in inVision. I am going to choose the basic just drag and drop files that I already have here. So I could drag and drop from the Finder, which let's go ahead and do that. Conversely, you could also just click Browser Files and the Finder will come up. And select all of these, drag them on here. And now I have my basic, the basic screens of my prototype. So what I want to do is I want to reorder these. Let's go back here. And I want to put this one as the last point in the user flow. Okay, so now that I have my screens in the order that I want to test, I'm going to open up this first screen. And here we have a couple of different options. First, down at the bottom, we're in preview mode, so we're just looking at our prototype. There's build mode, which is what we're going to use. We're going to look at how to put hotspots onto this prototype so we can actually do some testing. There's comment mode, which is very useful if you are either trying to take notes for yourself or share insights with your team about different design directions. In this project, we're just kind of doing it solo, but if you were working with a team, you could use this to say, click here, and then we could come over and say, I think this blue is too cool, or something like that. And then that comment would be sent to every member on your team who could come in here and either comment on that comment or resolve it or what have you. There's inspect mode, which will output CSS for you, which can make things a lot easier for your developers that you're working with to kind of take the prototype to the next level and make an actual HTML and CSS prototype. And then there's history of everything that's been done so far. So far, we only have one version. So what we're going to do for this project is use build mode. So we'll click on that. And then when we click on build mode, you'll notice we have this crosshatch now for our cursor, and it says to click and drag to create hotspots. So I want people to be able to sign up to access their accounts online. So I want to make sure that this user flow works. And the way that they're going to do that is to click this Learn More button. So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to drag a box over that, and that's going to make a hotspot. And then it's going to pop up this little dialog window. And you can either you can choose to make the hotspot activate on hover. So if you had like a tooltip that you wanted to pop up, and then the other options here are to maintain the scroll position after click. So if you click on that and you go to the next screen, you'd be at the same point scrolling as you were when you started. And then there's include hotspot and template. So imagine you had a really big project with a bunch of similarly laid out screens, and rather than dragging a new hotspot on every single one of them, you could click include hotspot and template, and that same hotspot would be on every single screen, provided that the layout was appropriate for that. So now that we have the hotspot set, we got to click a destination. So you can do either another point on the screen, you can do a screen as overlay, so like a modal, previous screen in series, which would be like if you were doing a back button. You could do the next screen in the series, which is something that would be useful for us. An external URL, so if you wanted to like take them out to a separate website, like a Wikipedia article or something like that, or any of the screens that you have in here. So in my case, I just want to go to the next screen. So I could either click next screen, or I can select it manually from the list of all of the prototype screens. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to click Save. So now that we have that, we are going to go to preview mode, and now if we click on that button, it takes us to the next screen. And now from here, I want to know if people are able to find the link to take them to the actual screen where they will sign up for online access. So in our case, that's this link right here, where it says enroll in Wells Fargo Online. So I'm going to go back to build mode, and I'm going to drag a hotspot over this link, because I want to see if people find it and click on it. Now I'm going to click select a destination. Again, I could do next screen in series based on the way that I have it set up, but I'm going to click the specific prototype screen here. So I'll click that, do save, go back to live mode, and now if I scroll to that and I click on it, I come to my next screen. So from here, you'd be able to test if they actually were able to get to the screen and were able to click on the continue button to finalize the process. So unfortunately, in inVision, there is not the ability to make prototype forms at the moment. So this particular screen, you just really want to test that they got here. However, if you wanted to see if they were able to complete the process, you could make the screen in your prototype be like contact us or something like that. Just a simple call to action instead of a form where form fields are. So let's imagine that this button says contact us, and it would immediately open up a chat box to set this up. So I'm going to go back to build mode. I'm going to click a hotspot here, select a destination, and then from here I will just say, well, external URL probably makes the most sense. And then I'm going to go to https wellsfargo.com. And we'll click save. And now when users in this prototype click on this, they'll be taken to Wells Fargo advisors, or wellsfargo.com. So that's a really basic overview of how to import screens into your inVision prototype, set up hotspots so you can test a user flow for a given outcome that you want to achieve, and then take that prototype and use it for user testing.